This is the fourth round of the 2026 season of the Florida Interscholastic Cycling League. After breaking my chain in the last round, I am now at Tallahassee for the last round of the season. And this will be my last race ever in NICA, so I was really hoping for a good performance, but little did I know how hard this race was going to be. One lap of this course for the high schoolers is 5.3 miles long with 266 feet of climbing. The middle schoolers had a shorter lap. The course was made of a combination of green-rated trails and double track. I raced in the varsity category with 10 competitors and I had to do 4 laps of this course. And we are racing. I got stuck behind a rider here who had a slower start, but that wasn't a huge problem because the start was very open and long, so there was a little more time to make some passes. Now, there were actually some horses whose owners wanted to race us, so they were running alongside the course. And I'm glad to say that we beat the horses, so that was cool. A Starkey rider set a blistering pace at the front, which made it a lot harder to move to the front.
Let's go, Mr. Velocity! Keep it up! Let's go, boys! Let's go!
Shout out to Skylar and Xander Dole who took this video. They also post videos of these NICA races and other mountain bike related content, so I'll link their channels in the description. I entered the single track in 5th place and my legs were screaming at the top of the climb. I was hoping I could recover a little bit, but the pace didn't slow down at all. I had to push over 500 watts for the first 2 minutes of the race, and even on every climb in the single track section, I had to push just as much power just to stay with the riders in front of me, which led to an all-time personal record for my 5-minute power. The Ocala rider slides out behind me because these trails were very slippery at these speeds, which resulted in us getting some separation from the riders behind us, making us a lead group of 5 riders. I was not able to keep up with the 4 lead riders and they slowly inched away from me. At the same time, I managed to put a sizable gap to the Space Coast rider behind me. After this big climb here, I had to slow down and recover. After a few minutes, a Lakeland rider and the Space Coast rider catch up to me. Eventually, the Lakeland rider goes past me and I get right on his wheel to draft behind him. I'm hoping that we can work together to try to catch up to the lead group. After a little while, the Lakeland rider slows down slightly, so I go back in front to take another turn to keep our pace up. We are starting lap 2 and I was still feeling pretty good and was okay with leading this chase group for a little while longer. The gap to the lead group was not huge.
You gotta push it, buddy. You gotta push it to catch him.
Come on, Caleb.
Good, okay. Stay in that group now, boys.
After that tough climb, I really wanted to recover, so I slowed down to let someone else go in front. But even after slowing down a lot, no one came around me. I didn't want to use all my energy leading and allow these riders to keep drafting, so I decided to attack them to try to break away from them. I wasn't able to break away from the two riders behind me, so I slowed down to a more maintainable pace. Starting lap 3, I started to slow down once again to try to get someone else to lead our group, but the Lakeland rider saw this as a good opportunity to attack, and was swerving back and forth to make it harder for me to draft him. this attack was unsuccessful, and he immediately slowed down right after. After a few minutes of the pace being slow, I took the lead again to try to hold off the Ocala rider in 8th place, who was not far behind us. At this point, the lead group had a very large gap. The Lakeland rider attacks again in the single track, but unlike the other times, he makes this a longer attack. My body is getting tired, so the Lakeland rider slowly inches away and gets a gap. Up this climb, the Space Coast rider then attacks me, and I had nothing left to go with him. And all of a sudden, I find myself moving backwards in this race, with 5th and 6th place pulling away from me and 8th place quickly catching up. But I wasn't done. All I needed was a consistent pace to take a gel and drink and mentally reset, which is exactly what happened.
You're almost to the top, man. You're almost to the top. Let's go, let's go, let's go. You're almost there, man.
The Ocala rider goes past me and I jump on his wheel and follow him for the rest of the 3rd lap. Coming out of the single track to start lap 4, we see that the Space Coast rider and the Lakeland rider had significantly slowed down and were very close.
Pick it up, Michael, let's go!
I was feeling better now, so I passed the Ocala rider to make sure that we can catch up to the Space Coast rider and the Lakeland rider before anything else happens. Despite me wanting to save energy and draft these riders, it was coming to the end of the race and I wanted to have a clean line through the single track. But to make sure that I didn't burn myself out, I kept a very maintainable pace. When we come out of this single track, the Ocala rider attacks up this big climb. The Lakeland rider and I managed to go with it, but I was hanging on for dear life. Once we get over the top of the climb, the Ocala rider realizes that he didn't drop us, so he slowed down a little to a more maintainable pace. We stayed in this group of 3 for the rest of the race, which brought us to a 3-way sprint for the finish.
Marshall ahead. Oh, there he goes. Go, go, go. Sprint, sprint, sprint.
There you go, Michael Perron. In 5th place from the Tampa Bay Hurricanes, Michael Perron.
I managed to win the sprint finish to claim 5th place with a time of 1 hour 14 minutes and 26 seconds and an average speed of 16 miles per hour. This was a very tactical race on my favorite course of the season and was definitely a good way to end the season. If you want to watch the race uncut, then click the link to the extended cut in the description. And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on the FICL Adventure Day, where we officially bring this chapter to a close.
Let's give it up for your varsity boys.
I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.